Richard, how'd they do it, man? Just based on what the sources you have, talking with Isaiah, how was the Arkansas coaching staff able to convince the Fayetteville Bulldog that his best option in college was Fayetteville, Arkansas?
I think you can kind of go back to, you remember when Sasha Goforth signed with Oregon State. Obviously, she was from Fayetteville, and a year later, she decided to come back home. I think the distance was a big part when you start thinking about your family being able to come see you play, and also just being able to see your family on a fairly regular basis. I mean, you're in state, usually you're looking at 2-3 hours to go see your family, and obviously he's just right down the street to be able to see his family. But when you're on the West Coast, it's a little bit more difficult, and I think it also helps us seeing what Arkansas has done this season. Let's face it, previous few years before that, and last year, 2-10, 2-10. You know, that's basically what Isaiah saw of Arkansas football, and seeing also, I think with KJ Jefferson, knowing that he's going to be the quarterback and how he's performed this year, I think that's a plus. So, I think all those things kind of weighed into his decision.
Richard, I also wonder, when you have a number one kid in your state that's a skill position player, a lot of fans expect him to contribute immediately. We know he's an impact player for Casey Dick's Bulldogs, but will you see an instant impact from him game one next year, in your opinion?
Wait and see. I always, when you think of a guy that with his type of speed, you think that he definitely has the capability of doing that. How well does he adjust to the speed of the SEC? How well does he adjust to the physicality of the defensive backs? There's a lot that goes into being able to play at the SEC level. There's a lot of people that you look at film and you think they definitely have a capability of doing that, and then there's the adjustment of just going from high school to the best league in the nation. But the potential is definitely there to play very soon.
Rich, we had a text question in from Zach, who's listening to us this morning in Georgia, talking about flipping, wants to know about Isaac Thompson out of St. Louis and what's the prospects with him.
Well, I know that they've talked about setting up an official visit with him. I think that's a little bit of a longer shot to flip him. I think he's pretty solid with Missouri, but at the same time, yeah, you get him. I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult with him, but especially with him in the backyard of the Missouri Tigers. But we'll see.
All right, so Sategna is the 20th commitment for the class. Kind of walk us through the numbers. We know there's been some change in the numbers. What's the forecast moving forward for the rest of the 22 class?
Well, like you said, you got 20 commitments right now. I think you may add another one or two high school guys and then save the rest for the portal. And, Sam Abake, who Georgia receiver who visited Arkansas unofficially for the Auburn game, he's going to be making an official visit to Arkansas probably out in December, early December. And I think he's the one to keep an eye on also.
All right, so obviously a big weekend coming up. It's not at 11 a.m. They're playing Mississippi State at 3 o'clock. As you text and talk with recruits and for a weekend in Fayetteville, that finally this coaching staff gets to entertain a little bit.
Yeah, last I heard that there wasn't going to be any official visits, but obviously unofficial visits will be happening, and they have a pretty impressive list of kids planning to come. Drew Pickett, a running back from Alabama who visited back in June. He's a guy that is a speedster. He said he's going to be there. Tackett Curtis, a 4-star 2023 linebacker from Manny, Louisiana, who visited back in June. He's the number one inside linebacker in the country, according to Mark Williams, a 24 safety from Pearland, Texas, who also visited back in June. So again, the staff is doing a really good job of getting these underclassmen already on campus and coming back for multiple, at least for a second, maybe sometimes third trip already. So that obviously bodes well for the future.
Richard Davenport talking a little recruiting with us here on a Recruiting Thursday. RD, got a couple basketball questions for you. Got some fans texting in, including Craig in Greenwood. This has been the popular name as of late, Anthony Black. Is there anything new? I know he's academically ineligible this season. Is there any new update with him on the chances that Muss and his staff are able to land him?
Nothing new. I mean, he hasn't announced any kind of decision date when he'll announce that. But everything I've heard is Arkansas is still in the running. I know some people think that he's going to go to Oklahoma State. No, not going to say he's not. But I think Arkansas is still there. Nick Smith and him are pretty good friends. I'm not saying that that's going to be a deciding factor or anything like that, but I think that helps. But I think they're still in contention.
Richard, last basketball question from me. Darian Ford of Magnolia and Joseph Pinion of Morrilton have already announced their official signing days. It'll be later this month. I think Darian's on the 14th, and in Magnolia, and I can't remember what time Joseph's is. But you brought up Nick Smith. Any word on Nick or Jordan or Barry Dunning when they're going to decide to officially ink their national signing letter of intent with Arkansas?
I expect Jordan Walsh. I think that he's going to sign early. He hasn't announced a time or date, but nothing concrete on that. And then with Nick Smith, when he announced for Arkansas, he said he was unsure if he was going to sign early or not. No word is as of late whether he's going to sign early or wait till spring.
You mentioned Jordan Walsh. I know his team, Link Prep, played over at Omaha, just north of Harrison, the other night against another team. Dudley, I know, went to that game. What were your takeaways from that game the other night?
Well, I mean, he just about every stat that's listed on the official stat sheet, he contributed. I think he had 13 points, 8 rebounds, several blocks, several assists. He's just a basketball player who and also does well defensively too. I think this is just the beginning. Dad after the game, and I was listening. He's going to be driving the back to Branson, But at the beginning, but he's just one of those guys that. And he's not one of these guys that's going to jack up the times when it's not necessary.
Do you know the backstory on how that game ended up in Omaha, a small town that loves their basketball, just north of Harrison, just short of the Missouri state line? Is there any backstory on, or do they play games regularly? I just don't know. I know Link Prep's there in Branson, but what's the connection there to the Omaha high school facility?
I think it's the nightlife of Omaha.
Yeah, it is.
Now, I think there's a connection with the coaching staff at Link and the coaching staff there at Omaha. Yeah. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Some people probably thought that was in Nebraska. We had to explain a little
from Arkansas,
right there, state line.
Richard, last one before we let you go. This class of 2022 in basketball, it's outstanding. You got 3 4-stars, 1 5-star, Nick Smith. You get 3 of the 4 of them at least committed at the moment. Football-wise, though, it's you can tell it better than I can. This has been one of the better football classes than they have in recent years. And is that correct?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Arkansas usually averages anywhere from 5 to 7 guys that are legit SEC type prospects, and sometimes there's a few, there's less than that, but on average, you're usually looking at 5 to 7. Anytime you get to double figures, that's a abnormal year. The last time Arkansas signed anything like this was in 2008 when they actually signed 15 in-state guys under Petrino, but this is definitely one of the better classes to come in some time. It's going to be interesting to see how the next 2 classes develop, but they already obviously have some offers out for those classes, and I think there's a potential for them to be more than 5 or 7 too, but we'll have to wait and see.
Anytime you talk about that class that included Tyler Wilson, Jarius Wright, Greg Childs, and
how'd they ever pan out?
Yeah, I think
ever make any noise?
Hopefully this class and the classes to come will have a similar impact. Richard, we appreciate it, man. You always give great stuff on Thursday, and hopefully we'll have some other great news to talk about, like we did with Sategna's commitment this morning. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. We'll see
back
you.
and better than ever. A new web interface to start the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your #1 spot for all basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV 50 to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, and baseball postseason, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.